friends, welcome back to the channel. How are you doing? I, as you may know, am a little bit of a reader or something like that. So I know what the popular books are right now, or have been for the past few years. And there is one book that I got into about a year ago, probably, maybe a little over a year ago. That was a really popular book among a lot of people, and I read it, and I didn't understand what the hype was about, and then I kind of just didn't read for a while because I felt like I was led astray a little bit, okay? In fact, I felt like I was led so astray that when I saw that more people kept reading this book and liking this book, and then it got a movie deal and everybody was super excited about the movie, I was like, what? I feel like I'm missing something. Am I missing something? Well, that's what this video is about. I'm gonna find out if I'm missing something. Here's the deal. I hate It Ends With Us. I hated It Ends With Us. I gave it 2 stars, which isn't necessarily a hate. That's a very big word, but you know, it's a YouTube video. I have to get you on your toes. I had some issues with the book that made me give it 2 stars, which is essentially, I'm not gonna read it again. It put a bad taste in my mouth. There are so many people that love this book. Everybody on my Goodreads friends, which is my family, everybody in my family who has read this book likes it, or at least has given it like 4 stars, I think. I think everybody I know who has read this book has at least given it 4 stars, and I gave it 2. I've decided I'm gonna give It Ends With Us a second chance. I've decided I'm going to put my 2-star rating aside, and I'm going to reread this book, and I'm going to see if my feelings have changed. But not only that, I secured tickets to the movie, girl. So I am gonna go see the movie too, and we're gonna talk about it, and we're gonna also discuss how it differs from the book. So this is like a full spoilery video. So if you want to know nothing about this, you're gonna have to leave. You're gonna have to go find a different video to watch, preferably one of mine. So it is currently July 25th. I'm giving myself plenty of time to read this book, just in case it still upsets me and it takes me a while to get through it, because I'm also reading other stuff right now, so I don't wanna deal with all that. Why do you have a bushy tail? Aspen and Salem are fighting. They are full on fighting. He's about to pounce on her. Wow. You're being a psychopath. I believe our movie tickets are for a screening on August 7th. All right, that was a very long-winded way of saying I hated a book. I'm gonna reread it, see what I think about it, and go watch the movie as well and see how it compares. Cool. Hello, I have a light on this time so that you can see me better. I did not film myself reading this book, but I did finish this book. It's been a while since I last touched base with you. It is currently August 6th, which means I'm going to see this movie, It Ends With Us, tomorrow night. Very excited, can't wait, but I do need to talk to you about the book. Just so you know, from this point on, I can't control what comes out of my mouth, so this is probably not going to be a spoiler-free review. So if you have not read It Ends With Us, or you're not planning on reading it, but you want to watch the movie and you don't want any spoilers, then I'm gonna need you to go away and come back when you're ready. I still don't love this book. I don't think that it is this grand story that needs to be told, that everybody needs to read. I think that the thought is there, what you're trying to achieve is there, but I don't think it was achieved in the best way it possibly could have been achieved. So I'll start with this. I originally gave this book 2 stars, as you know. I am now going to give this book 3.5 stars. It's 3 stars on Goodreads. I've already complained about that. You know the deal. I absolutely think that content warnings are a very important part of a story. I get that you don't want to spoil anything for people. That's whatever. But it can be achieved in a way where you're not spoiling things for people. This book handles some heavy topics that are very triggering for a lot of people, and there is absolutely no content warnings. You can say whatever you need to say to get the point across that there are some things in this book that are going to be hard for you to read. And if that's something that you can't handle, then you shouldn't read the book. You shouldn't, I mean, it's just that simple. I always think that you should put an audience's mental health above getting the reads that you want. So that immediately just kind of like set me on the wrong track. The characters in the story are really good. They're really fleshed out. I had difficulty connecting with our main character right away, and this is something that I'll be interested to see how they play this off, because Lily is young. Like, she's at the end of the story no more than my age, and I believe at the beginning of the story she's 23. So she's really young and dealing with a lot of things. And maybe we're supposed to feel like she's older for her age because of what she went through as a child, but I didn't get that vibe. I really did not. I strictly saw a 23-year-old or a 25-year-old in these cases. Having Blake Lively as the Lily for this is going to be interesting. Maybe we're just going to pretend like she is 25 because she looks young. I don't know. I definitely got a childish vibe from the book. Also, something that I'm going to be interested to see how they handle in the movie are the letters to Ellen DeGeneres. We know what happened with Ellen DeGeneres. We know what came out about Ellen DeGeneres. Nobody likes Ellen DeGeneres anymore. I think they could go one of two ways. They could just own it, you know? We're looking at flashbacks. Of course, nothing came out about Ellen back then, so maybe we're just gonna go with it and pretend like nothing ever happened. Or they can just nix the entire Ellen thing. Maybe she'll write to somebody else. Maybe she'll write to somebody who kind of seems like Ellen. I thought it was an interesting idea to have her writing in her journal, basically writing letters to Ellen, but it became much more of a big deal than I thought it was going to be. I mean, the line from Dory just being the entire theme of the story basically just keeps swimming. And on the topic of these lines that just are just thrown in your face, I didn't love that. I just felt like it's like when you see engagement bait on social media where everybody is like this post and then God will love you. I felt like I was constantly being thrown these words of wisdom that I needed to highlight, and y'all are falling for that because there are so many of these lines that I saw highlighted by 30,000 people or 20,000 people or whatever, and I'm like, this is not a good line for you to highlight. What are you talking about? Like, this is not, these words are not adding up. They're not adding up for me. I don't think that we should just instantly jump on the bandwagon of there are not bad people. There are just people who do bad things. Like, there are bad people actually. There are some bad people actually. Bad people that do bad things that can make them bad as well. So I'm not super into that. And if you want my honest opinion, I think that Ryle got off pretty easy for what he did. I will stand by those people are rotten. They're rotten and they deserve nothing. Is that terrible? Am I a terrible person for wanting abusers to have no happiness? Nothing? I don't know. Maybe this all just stems to something in my brain that isn't connecting. I get that there are people who do bad things and are not bad people. I also get that there are people who do bad things, apologize, get granted forgiveness, and then continue to do bad things. And it's just a cycle. And I think those are bad people. Obviously, I am so glad that Lily did not end up with Ryle, but I also think that things just kind of flipped. It was like a flip of a switch 2 words are said and it's like, okay, well, you can see your child now and we have no issues. I'm not worried about your anger issues anymore. Pacing. I thought that it was good for a while. And then like I got to the last 50% of the book and everything just started steamrolling. I don't know, Colleen, if you ended up having like a limit on how many pages you had to have for this book, but girl, chill out. The last half of the story just like, it felt like I was getting hit by a train. Everything was just thrown at me, one after another. It was a lot. It was a lot to handle in the last 50% of the book. I feel like my man Atlas did not get as much time as he deserved. Ryle deserved nothing, Atlas deserved the world. It's just like he was there with her when she found out she was pregnant and then he was gone. He was gone. Bye. Bye, Atlas. We'll see you in the last 2 pages, actually. You just go live your life. Bye-bye. I kind of hope that the movie differs a little bit from this. As always, I'm going to go into this assuming that the book is going to be better than the movie, in which case I don't have very high hopes for the movie. I appreciated that since we got no content warnings, most of the abuse is kind of a black screen. We get a little bit, and then it kind of goes dark, and then we get the aftermath. Overall, the story is good. It's a good story, especially given our main character's background and seeing how she deals with it when it happens to her. I do think that if we're going to write stories on abuse and how it can happen to anyone, how anything can happen in a matter of seconds, in a matter of minutes, it could be achieved better. I am still looking forward to seeing the movie. I specifically am looking forward to seeing what my husband thinks about the movie because I have not told him anything about the book. I told him a little bit. I told him about the fact that she like writes to Ellen so that I was like curious how that would work out, but he knows nothing. I've even had him watch the trailer and try to tell me what he thinks the movie is gonna be about. And he says he thinks it's gonna be a basic love story. So, I think he's gonna cry. I think he might cry. If the movie does a good job of making you cry, Vaughn's gonna cry. I'm gonna sit on these emotions. I'm gonna go watch the movie tomorrow and I'm gonna let you know how the movie did. The last time I had the light on, it was a little harsh. We're gonna make it a little better. It's official. Last night I saw It Ends With Us. It was a really good rendition of the book. I'm going to give the movie 4 out of 5 stars. And that is 0.5 stars above what I gave the book. So that is probably going to be very controversial, but I'm going to get into a full review of the movie and how it compares to the book to explain why I have that hot take. So from here on out, this is spoiler zone. I want to first of all acknowledge what I saw a lot of people complaining about before the movie ever came out, which was the casting. And I honestly think the casting was really great. I know that the most controversial part was like Blake Lively as Lily, because Lily was supposed to be 23 at the beginning of the book. Blake Lively is 36. And you know, I think the movie still did a good job as showcasing Lily as this young woman who was still a little naive to the situations that were happening to her. I didn't see a very big issue with casting, honestly. I loved Jason, or Justin? Is that his name? Baldoni? Mr. Baldoni? I loved him as Ryle. I think that he did a really good job as Ryle because he made me hate him. Whoever played Atlas, I'm so sorry, I don't know the actor's name who played Atlas, but he was really good. I think that they honestly did a great job. Lily's mom was really great. Alyssa was perfect. Oh my god, like perfect. Beyond that, the next thing that I want to talk about that I was so confused about how they were going to portray it, and I discussed this when I was doing my book review, was the Ellen situation. They do not really utilize that as much as they did in the book, and I'm happy about that. I like the way that they played it off. They didn't completely dismiss it from the story because, you know, it was an integral part of the story, but they made it less integral. You know, they had Lily and Atlas watching Ellen at her house, and you saw like a Finding Nemo poster on Lily's wall. So like, in those flashbacks, you could see the hints of Ellen. We saw the journal that said Dear Ellen, but we didn't go into like narrating the journal and showcasing how important it was. It was more of just a nod to the fact that us readers knew that it was important to the story, but also knew that it probably shouldn't be as important to the story as it ended up being. So thank goodness for that. We did not hear the cheesy just keep swimming line. I'm so glad. I'm so glad. All of the depictions of abuse were very similar to how they were presented in the book. You know, going into this movie, it was rated R, so I believe the title cards show exactly why it was given that rating, so that kind of helped the issue of my issue of the book not having content warnings, whereas the movie would have that. It was still really hard to watch. I felt like it was very similar to how it was presented in the book, where we see everything through Lily's eyes because it's her POV, it's her story. So when these things are actively happening, we only see as much as she remembers and as much as she's told. And I think that's very important to know, because when he hits her, she doesn't see all of the aftermath. She gets told what happened. So she believes him to an extent. She believes that it was an accident. She believes that she fell down the stairs. Whereas towards the end of the movie, when she realizes, no, he's gaslighting me, like this is an abuser, he's making it less than it is, she starts to see all of the things that actually happened and starts to put all of the pieces together to the point where you start to see the whole picture too. It really put you in Lily's shoes. It was hard to watch. It's just it's so heavy and it's difficult. Overall, including the last thing that I want to touch on, why I gave this movie more stars than the book is because I think that the ending of the movie is better than the book. I think this has a lot to do with how the book ages. I think at the time that it was written, we probably didn't look into it too much that Ryle got to be a part of his child's life, even though he really couldn't be trusted. And I will stand by hating Ryle, and I will stand by that he is a bad person that does not deserve the grace that he was given in the book. And I so appreciate that he was not given that grace in the movie. I don't completely blame Ryle for what happened as a child. He was 6 years old. Like, that's terrible. I wouldn't wish that upon anybody. But it does not negate what he does as an adult. It's the fact that, like, Lily was always capable of doing this on her own and never needed Ryle as a co-parent. And I felt like he never proved himself worthy of that. Beyond that, the excuses that were given in the book, like halfway through the book, where we find out what happened to Ryle as a child and that that's a reasoning for him blacking out, that was not given. We do get the backstory of what happened to him as a child, but that was not used as an excuse for his abuse, and that was smart. That was smart, because that is definitely like something that rubbed me the wrong way in the book. I was really happy with how it ended. I think that that's how the book should have ended. I think that's how the book would end today. I mean, I'm sure Colleen Hoover had a big part in making the film, and I'm assuming she gave the A-OK with ending it that way. Overall, this is all just my opinions, all just based on just reading the book, going to see the movie, all of my thoughts combined on it, all of my personal experiences definitely like go into that as well, you know? So I'm very interested to hear what everybody else has to say. I'll be interested to see like other videos that come up of people who have done the same thing as me and reread and watched the movie and what they think about it, how it differed. And I'll be interested to see what you guys say. Be sure to let me know in the comments if you saw the movie, what you think about it. I look forward to seeing your thoughts on everything. Until next time, bye.